Good morning. My name's Jonathan from the Major Projects Association, and I'm delighted to be talking to Chris from 360photosurvey.com about the value and the challenges and the whole experience of aerial photography on projects and on major projects. So Chris, let me start by asking you an easy question, which is, will you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Chris Billington. I run 360photosurvey.com, which is a specialist photography service for construction projects, mainly undertaking aerial photography using full-size aircraft.
Yeah, excellent, good. And in terms of the role and the value of photography in infrastructure, construction, other projects, what's the point?
Well, for a start, you get a unique perspective of the project. So rather than being at ground level, you can't necessarily see all the details, particularly on larger and longer projects such as highway projects. So the aerial photography it takes us say 3 to 5 minutes to photograph a highway project, whereas I was doing a drone photo shoot the other day. It took half a day to do exactly the same work that would be taken 3 to 5 minutes on using a full-size aircraft. So some clients want them for the purposes of presenting to their clients at their monthly meetings. Others, such as we've got one highway project where the client, main contractor, uses them in conjunction with the client as a takeoff, so they can actually see the progress of the quite a long project as to how it's actually progressing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're involved at a number of times within the kind of development of the project, even before they started digging, site surveys and that kind of thing, as well as how's it going?
It's nice when we do start from the very beginning. Invariably, we come along once the project has started. It all depends on how people find us and know about us. We get a lot of repeat work. We don't do any advertising, so that's probably the best way of getting the jobs.
Yeah, and I can see why an aeroplane is particularly useful on a kind of piece of linear infrastructure like a railway or a motorway or something where you actually are traveling quite a distance. Is there still a particular value to photo surveying from an aircraft when you're on a particular site, or when you're limited to a particular site?
Obviously, you will have drones and full-size aircraft and telescopic masts. They're all tools, and you use those tools to their best advantage. Each has advantages and disadvantages. The benefit of using a full-size aircraft is during our 7-hour flights, we're covering usually a couple of hundred sites in one flight operation. So because we're doing that in an aircraft, we're not traveling on the roads and all the traffic congestion and what have you. We get to those sites very quickly. We're on scene only very short times, and getting the images that the clients want very quickly. Using a very high powered cameras, we're able to get really close into images to site locations. So clients generally just leave it to us because I'm from a construction background anyway, project management background. So I know pretty well a lot about the construction projects and the requirements that clients have. And so you will actually have, if we're doing a non-linear site, so it's a construction project. So for example, we're doing some work at Perry Bar in Birmingham, where we're going round the site. We usually do about 2 circuits, one further out, so we're getting general overview image of the project in regard to its surroundings, and then we'll do a closer up circuit, including directly above, getting more close-up images for the requirements that they have. It's incredible how close you can zoom in.
Are there kind of established techniques for comparing week on week, month on month when you're flying over the same site? How can people approach the kind of analysis of the photos?
Yeah, if we take we're doing a smart motorway at the moment, so we have to fly along the length of the project on one side. So the client is actually getting like for like images because we're flying in exactly the same route along that site, and then we fly along the other side of the road, getting exactly the same images. So they're getting an image probably every 50 meters, so they can compare previous months and ensure that they can see the progress of that project.
This is something of a chicken and egg question, Chris. But how did you get into this career? Were you a photographer who then discovered it was great to do it from the air, or were you a pilot who thought, hey, it would be good to take some cool photos?
No, I had my own consultancy, multidisciplinary consultancy for 25 years. I then got headhunted into some project management roles on some really major projects. Throughout, I always have taken photographs of projects, and people got to see the project photos I was doing and said, could you do some for us? So slowly but surely, the photography took over from the project management side. So now I don't do any project management. It's all purely photography, the vast majority of which is doing the monthly aerial photo shoots for clients. And the aerial photography came by me getting a drone some years ago, and then I got the opportunity to go up in an aircraft. I thought the aircraft is far more fun and a lot more relaxing, that you're not having to walk across muddy sites and all the safety issues that you've got to be aware of. So it's we get to see a lot more of the country using the full-size aircraft, and whilst I still do the occasional drone op, the full-size aircraft is I won't go back. It's absolutely brilliant.
Is there a particular photo, a particular site that you kind of hold close to your heart in terms of all the things that you've photographed over the years, Chris?
No, they're always, every flight has its highlights. I can't say I've got a specific preference. What does make me really happy is when clients invariably come back and say they were absolutely brilliant.
In terms of the kind of seasonality of the process, is this very much a summer activity? How affected are you by weather?
We are affected by the weather. One year we couldn't fly for 3 months, but we are a 12-month service, so it's every month we do a flight. We might have to delay it for the weather for a matter of a couple of days or a week, but that's part of the course in the UK weather. But with most of our clients wanting monthly progress shots, we get the odd ones who, when they reach a certain stage or on completion, they need photos, but the vast majority are actually progress photos.
If you imagine that I was a client and I was either starting a new project or we'd already made some progress, and I was thinking about initiating an aerial survey and using aerial photographs, what would be a good starting point in terms of kind of what I might want to do and how I might engage with somebody like you?
First of all, you send me a copy of the site plan, usually a Google Earth screenshot, so I can actually see the site, because invariably quite a few of the sites are actually in restricted areas, so you can't fly drones within specific locations such as prisons, airports, nuclear installations, whereas with a full-size aircraft we can. You can't fly over prisons or within a prison area or a nuclear installation with helicopters, but with a fixed wing aircraft you can, and we use fixed wing aircraft. So we have all the necessary non-standard flight operation permits, or NSFs, to go into those locations, and we have a very good rapport with the air traffic control operators in all of these locations that we fly. So we have a good knowledge of what you can and can't do, and advising the client, well, first of all, listening to what their requirements are. What sort of project is it? How often do they want the images? What's it for? Is it for PR, or is it for progress photography? If it's progress photography, you want to pick up certain elements of the work. So prior to flying each month, then we'll just check, is there anything specific that's happened that you want us to capture? And we'll always have that communication throughout the whole of the project. So it's finding out what they're looking for. Is it a client requirement? So Highways England, or National Highways as they're called now, have quite specific requirements for their motorway projects. So we're always instructed by the main contractor to undertake the operations. So it's ensuring that it's not only for the main contractor's requirements, but to comply with their end clients' needs.